This instrument, well, I'll introduce the instrument, then I'll tell you the story. This instrument is called mbira. It's a traditional instrument that's been used by the Shona peoples for thousands of years, as for healing, for calling on ancestors to do what they need to do in various rituals. And I picked this up in 1999 because I was feeling very much lost in the States. And it turns out that my great-grandmother was a healer and used the mbira in the 1920s. And I'm not surprised I am the way that I am because she worked with everybody, Indians, whites, blacks, in the 1920s in Zimbabwe. But I'm going to link it to the story. So I'm just going to play a song while I do it. Because I was inspired. I just felt the energy was just really, I needed release. So, okay. To give you a background about what brought me to this work, in Zimbabwe we have inherited generations of a culture of violence from maybe say the colonial era through the liberation struggle, even into the post-colonial era. And what continues to strike me is especially the violation not only of women but of children, and even more so the men. For them to become perpetrators, they must have been victimized by something in their lives for them to continue to reproduce this violence that actually destroys humanity, destroys people. So, in my own life journey, actually, oh wow, I was going to go this route. Okay, I'll say it. I myself was violated as a child by 3 men. And in my own healing paths, having come back home 6 years ago, I somehow, due to not getting gainful employment, even though with a master's degree, I went into theatre and acting and found my joy there. So I learned skills called theatre-based suppression that is mainly about finding ways to help people heal through theatre, through acting and games and laughter and joy. So I've been working with children all over Zimbabwe for the past 2 years. There's a particular story of a little boy called, I call him Nyasha. Nyasha in Shona means mercy. Little Nyasha, it comes from a township called Epworth, where in 2008 was a very hot area for political violence because it's the stronghold of the opposition party. And it's a particular dam that they call the death dam because the bottom is covered with bodies. So Nyasha's little story I heard when I was working with a group of about 30 youth in Epworth, because the parents of these youth had gone through a process called the Tree of Life. That's why I drew the tree there. And the Tree of Life works with adults, which includes perpetrators and victims of violence, to sit together and talk and basically bring back the humanity that has been lost. So these parents, upon meeting me through some meeting I was invited to, asked, but what about our children? Yes, we are all healed and feel much better about ourselves, but our children are basically so terrified of even stepping out of the yard, cannot go to school, cannot concentrate. We don't know how to talk to them. So I said, okay, let me have a go. So I arrived in Epworth one, I guess Saturday morning, and I heard the story about Nyasha. Nyasha was about 4 years old, and his parents unfortunately became victims of the political struggles that were going on in that area. Their home was destroyed. His parents disappeared. He doesn't even know what happened to his parents. There's high suspicion that they're at the bottom of this dam. Little Nyasha got run over twice by cars because there was nobody looking after him. The whole community was in disarray. Everybody was panicking. It was just chaos. When the dust settled after about, let's say about a month, this one particular family heard the story of Nyasha in the neighborhood and took him in. And that was the venue where I held the workshop, underneath the trees in the yard. So the guardian father says to me, oh, I've got this child Nyasha telling me a story. and said, is it okay if he just stands by and watches while you play with the kids? I said, oh, not a problem. You know, he can do whatever he likes. If he wants to join, that's fine. If he doesn't, it's okay. So I had the children doing all sorts of theatre games and processes just to help them, doing a lot of non-verbal kind of exercises, because as usual with humans, it's very difficult to articulate in words the pain that you've gone through. So a lot of the techniques I use from theatre versus oppression that Augusto Boal developed when he was a torture victim in Brazil in the 1960s is a way of helping people to almost peel away the layers so they can finally find their true voice. And that's when I first learned the true power of laughter. Because by the time I left, all these kids were laughing and playing. And little Nyasha, who, when I first met him, had very hollow, empty eyes, hardly said a word, but he kept on peeping behind the skirts of his mother, well, the guardian mother. 2 days later, I came back. And the guardian mother said, oh, Nyasha, who used to be mute for several months, has started talking again. And the first thing he asked was, when is the crazy woman who makes us laugh and play coming back? So, for me, I drew Nyasha as he was because I realized the power of laughter, the power of community can bring back your smile and restore the innocence